You plan on taking these?
Yeah, let's take them 2 bundles.
When did you print these?
This morning?
So they're fresh out.
We'll leave these here for right now. I'm Santos from La Voz. Okay.
Alfredo Santos grew up in Uvalde, Texas. Now, he lives in Austin, where he runs a bilingual paper called La Voz, which covers issues he believes the mainstream papers tend to overlook. He drove 3 hours back to his hometown to hand-deliver copies of the latest issue. It's focused on the massacre at Robb Elementary, where 19 children and 2 teachers were shot and killed by an 18-year-old using an AR-15 style rifle.
Te traje La Voz en persona.
Oh my. Even en la iglesia ahorita hay un funeral.
Sí.
No sé quién, porque todos los días hay 2 funerales, uno a las 10 y otro a las 2.
In this small, tight-knit community, it seemed like everyone was just 1 degree of separation from the tragedy.
Let me give you some copies of La Voz.
While handing out papers at the auto repair shop, we happened to meet Alfredo Garza. He lost his 10-year-old granddaughter in the massacre.
Amory Joe
Yeah.
Garza. Yeah, that was her. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we buried her Tuesday already.
You buried her just 4 days ago.
She was the first one that got buried out of all the 19 that passed away. But yes, I mean, it was horrible.
What do you think needs to happen so these type of shootings don't happen again?
First of all, I mean, they need to change the law. The age of buying guns like that. I mean, you can't drink and you can't smoke at 18, but you could go buy a gun like that. That's ridiculous. I mean, I think that's wrong.
Uvalde is a small working-class city, just over an hour's drive from the border. Generations of immigrants and Mexican Americans have called this place home. And while they try to hold on to their roots, many have also embraced Texas's conservative values. In 2020, former President Donald Trump won almost 60% of the votes in Uvalde County. But before that, Uvalde played an important role in the Mexican-American struggle for civil rights. In 1970, one of the longest school walkouts in Texas's history happened here in Uvalde, prompted by the district refusing to renew a Robb Elementary teacher's contract. Students and families spent 6 weeks protesting discrimination against Mexican Americans and Chicanos.
¿Cómo está? Paola.
Salud.
Santos and his friend Sergio Porras were in high school at the time and participated in the walkout. What's the Uvalde that you remember and that you know?
There was a big difference, big separation between gringos and Mexican Americans. We couldn't speak Spanish in school, and we would get punished for that.
We began to see, that, the roads are different on this side of town compared to that side of town. And then the police used to treat us differently.
Oh, yes.
This is a walkout photo that the Texas Department of Public Safety took. And that's me.
Approximately how many people participated in that walkout?
Highest number was 643.
Wow.
This is a Robb.
That's in front of Robb?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Looking back, what is the significance of that day and of that walkout?
Well, I think we showed the community that we were not going to be afraid anymore.
You mentioned that this has always been a divided community. Is the community also divided in terms of should people have access to guns in the way that it is today in Texas?
People in Uvalde have guns. The deal is these weapons of war. That's what the complaint is about.
So what type of conversation would you have with someone that is still for having AR-15s?
Why would you want an assault gun in the first place?
Nearly everyone we spoke to was a gun owner. Hunting and ranching are big around here, and so are concerns about immigration and border security, pillars of the Republican Party's platform, which are deeply intertwined with Uvalde's gun culture.
Don't bother her. Don't bother her, baby. Come on. Go help Daddy.
Ricky and Lauren Friday both grew up around guns. Ricky's grandfather was a deputy game warden. Together, the couple owns close to 50 guns.
How long have you both owned guns?
I want to say I got my first actual gun probably when I was 19.
And in all those years, have you ever had to use it for protection?
No.
What about you?
No. I just feel like it's smarter to carry, to feel protected in case something happens.
Always keep it locked so the kids can't get in here. Everything's unloaded.
How many guns do you have here right now?
So I have 21 rifles right now, roughly. The other ones are right here, all of my pistols that I have locked up in other areas right here.
Do you have an AR-15?
Yes. Clip out. This is what I bought for like varmint hunting. So it has a scope here, it's a magnifier, red dot sight.
What's the lethal power of a weapon like the AR-15? How powerful is it?
They'll kill whatever it points at. It can do any kind of damage.
And from testimony, we know that that was literally able to destroy the kids.
Sure.
Why would an 18-year-old be able to access a gun like that?
I don't know why he should, but that's just his right. This is like my sports car. You know, this is like, to me, this is like, I'm blessed to be able to purchase something like this.
But the difference between a sports car is you drive it. This is was designed to kill.
Sure, that's designed to kill. But the other thing, cars, there's lots of DUIs and stuff like that. They could easily do as much damage.
Some of the things that are being debated in Washington, D.C. in the aftermath of this massacre are things like banning weapons like AR-15. Would you be for banning AR-15s?
I don't know that I would be banning for it. And it's like a sport. It's fun for us.
I mean, it's fun for shooting, but it's also been the preferred weapon for a lot of these mass
Right,
shootings.
absolutely. If someone really wants to do some damage, they will find a way.
Do you think there will be anything that would make your family consider more legislation towards gun safety? Like increasing the age from 18 to 21?
If that's what it takes, absolutely.
What about federal background checks?
If you don't have a criminal history or something like that, by all means, if that helps.
But Ricky, even hearing you talk just right now, right? You mentioned that you could be for federal background checks.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you would be open to increasing the age from 18 to 21
Sure.
for AR-15s. Those are exactly the points that many Democrats want to instill.
Yeah. Obviously, you can tell that we, support our Second Amendment. We exercise it. But if that's what has to be done, that has to be done. If it's harder for me to get a gun, then that's fine.
Even though there is widespread support for greater restrictions, Congress hasn't passed significant gun legislation in almost 3 decades. And last year, Texas Governor Greg Abbott actually loosened restrictions in the state. The US Senate does seem to have reached a bipartisan gun deal, which would enhance background checks for buyers under 21, along with other provisions, but stops short of banning the types of assault weapons used at Robb. Many families of the victims say this isn't nearly enough. On the day of the shooting, Federico Torres, a farm worker from Mexico, spent over 12 hours searching for his 10-year-old son, Rogelio.
¿Y cuando regresó qué?
Ya nos encontramos con esto, nos mandaron al hospital, al Civic Center, luego para el hospital y otra vez aquí, ni nada, ni en San Antonio. No nos dice nada, nomás una foto y esperar. Esperemos que todo esté bien.
Entonces ahorita ustedes están orando que
mi hijo se encuentre bien, por favor.
¿Cómo se llama su hijo?
Mi hijo se llama Rogelio Torres, por favor, si saben algo, avisarnos.
After 1 a.m., Torres learned that Rogelio had been killed. He was identified through DNA testing. We sat down with Torres just hours after Rogelio's funeral.
Dale vuelta a la mente, yo no puedo estar encerrado, no pensando en mi hijo. Apenas cierro los ojos y ahí lo miro. Me siento tan impotente conmigo mismo que no pude hacer nada para salvarlo.
Responsable.
Empezar, él, que no dio la orden de entrar. Y la otra, todos los que estuvieron involucrados ahí en ese momento son incompetentes. No tienen entrenamiento, ni el valor para entrar, ni para nada. Fueron unos cobardes. Unos cobardes en entrar. Sinceramente no hay otra palabra. Fueron unos cobardes. Porque el muchacho traía un rifle más de alto calibre que ellos.
¿Culpa usted también el acceso que tenía el niño a esta arma AR-15?
Yes. ¿Por qué? Porque el gobernador y las leyes y todo están permitiendo que un muchacho de 18 años, simplemente ya cumple 18 años, puedes comprar un arma. ¿Qué pasa con esas leyes? Habría que cambiarlas, pero no lo hacen. Y no nomás es aquí, es en todas partes. Simplemente ayer, antier, todos los días salen shooting por todos lados y no hacen nada. Es mi hijo el que estoy poniendo dentro de un ataúd. Es mi hijo el que estoy enterrando.
¿Cómo quiere que recordemos a Rogelio?
A mi hijo. La mayoría de aquí Uvalde lo conoció.
Sí.
Feliz, siempre sonriente, muy inteligente, carismático, hablando inglés, español, jugando todo tipo de deporte, más fútbol.
¿Le gustaba el fútbol?
Fútbol americano. Bastante. Sus tarjetas Pokémon que siempre las traía. Quiero que lo recuerden feliz nomás. Tal vez sería en un futuro para este pueblo, para la ciudad, para el país. Porque no nada más fue mi hijo, fueron muchos. Muchos.
So we're going to say this prayer. We ask that you join us. And as soon as the prayer is over, we can release the balloons together.
Sé que hoy mismo, Federico, usted estuvo en el funeral de su hijo y 3 o 4 horas más tarde tiene que ir a trabajar.
Sí. Sí, porque como le digo, la vida de nosotros aquí es puro trabajo. Yo tengo que trabajar. Yo tengo 3 hijos más. Tienes que dejar a un hijo en un pozo, tu sangre, y aparte trabajar para mantener a los demás. Y te dicen, be strong, en esto y lo otro. Le digo, ¿cómo? ¿Cómo? No se puede.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
La policía de aquí, de Uvalde, no nos falló a nosotros los adultos ni los papás. Le falló a nuestros hijos, al futuro de esta comunidad. Fue a lo que le falló.
I just kept telling myself, it's just something small, you know, it's probably a drill.
Dr. Monica Gutierrez, a counselor and professor, stepped in to work with students who are now traumatized. She not only knows some of the victims' family, she also went to Robb as a child.
Nothing like this happens in Uvalde. I just kept telling myself that and just telling myself that. And then at one point, it comes out that there were 2 people dead. And I was just devastated. And then our governor comes out that there's 14. That's when I lost it. And then to think that not only was it 14, but 18 and 19, plus 2 teachers.
What is your perspective about the reasons why this massacre happened the way that it did?
I am just so angry, and especially that the guns were purchased legally, that the guns were purchased in our own community, that an 18-year-old was able to purchase these rifles and purchase much ammunition.
Shortly after the shooting, you were one of the counselors that was present at the Civic Center.
Yes.
What was that experience like?
The children also explained to me that they're so scared and do not want to go back to school. Not just to Robb, they do not want to go back to school.
What is the type of trauma that we can expect many of these families and kids to endure in the next years?
Lots of restlessness, lots of sleepless nights, lots of anxiety, a lot of separation anxiety. I ran into one girl that wouldn't let go of her sister, another girl that wouldn't let go of mom. That's gonna be prolonged, a lot of fear, a lot of issues of trust. They don't trust the schools to keep them safe because they feel that schools were supposed to keep them safe in the first place. So then why did this happen? They said, why did this happen to us? We were at school, we were supposed to be safe. Why?
I'm Michael Learmonth, editor-in-chief of Vice News. Too often, traditional news outlets shy away from the real stories and experiences of those living through global conflicts. Not Vice News. Our reporters are on the ground, fearlessly covering the human stories that shape our world. You and millions of others can continue to read, watch, and listen to Vice News for free. But we hope you'll consider making a one-time or ongoing contribution of any size at vice.com/contribute. Every contribution, no matter how big or small, helps support the journalism Vice News brings to you every day. Thank you.